I walked into the convent with nothing but a broken past and a hope for a new beginning. I thought I had found peace, but what I discovered behind those silent walls changed everything. Hidden files, secret deals, and whispers in the dark turned faith into fear. When I tried to expose the truth, I became the enemy. Betrayed by those I trusted most, I was forced into a fight for survival, truth, and justice. What I uncovered didn't just destroy them, it rebuilt me into someone I never expected to become. I stood at the rusted gate and whispered, "Is this really it?" No one answered, so I pushed it open and walked inside. The courtyard was silent. "Hello," I called. A woman stepped out from the shadows. "You must be the boy they told me about." "I'm not a boy," I said. "I'm just looking for work." She studied me. "Name?" "Daniel." "I am Sister Maria," she said. "If you stay, you follow our rules." "What kind of rules?" I asked. "Simple ones. Work, prayer, silence." She paused. "Can you do that?" "I can try." "Trying is not enough," she replied. "You either obey or you leave." "I won't leave," I said quickly. "I have nowhere else." She nodded once. "Then come." I followed her through long stone halls. "It's quiet," I said. "It is meant to be," she answered. We entered a small room. "You will sleep here." "This is fine," I said. She turned to go, then stopped. "Do not wander at night." "Why?" "Because I said so." "Understood." Later I met another nun in the kitchen. "You're new," she said. "Yeah. I just arrived." "I'm Sister Elena." She offered a faint smile. "If you need help, ask me." "Thank you," I said. "Everyone seems serious." She lowered her voice. "This place has its ways." "What does that mean?" "It means," she said softly, "don't ask too many questions." Before I could reply, a sharp voice cut in. "Elena." A taller nun stepped forward. "Back to work." Elena straightened. "Yes, Sister Ruth." Ruth turned to me. "You. What are you doing standing around?" I was just. "Work starts at dawn," she said. "Not when you feel like it." "I understand." She leaned closer. "Do you?" "Yes." "Good," she said, then walked away. Elena sighed. "Don't take it personally." "I won't," I said, though my hands were shaking. "She doesn't like me." "She doesn't like anyone," Elena replied. That night, I lay on the thin bed and stared at the ceiling. "This is my chance," I whispered to myself. "Don't mess it up." The wind brushed against the window. I heard distant footsteps. "Probably nothing," I said out loud. But something felt wrong. Not loud wrong. Quite wrong. The next morning, Sister Maria found me sweeping the hall. "You started early," she said. I couldn't sleep. "Good," she replied. "Busy hands keep the mind calm." She watched me for a moment. "You will stay focused?" "I will." "No distractions?" "No." She nodded. "Then you may belong here." Her words hit me harder than I expected. "Thank you," I said. As she walked away, I looked down the hallway. One door stood closed, heavier than the others. "Don't look at that," Ruth's voice snapped behind me. I wasn't. "Focus on your work." "I am." She stared at me, then left. I exhaled slowly. "Just follow the rules," I muttered. "That's all you have to do." But deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. "Don't go near the West Wing," Sister Ruth said one night, her voice low but sharp. I let out a small laugh. "It's just a hallway, right?" She didn't smile. "Do I look like I'm joking?" "No," I admitted. "You don't." "Then remember what I said," she replied, stepping closer. "Some doors are closed for a reason." I nodded. "All right. I'll stay away." But as she walked off, I whispered to myself, "It can't be that serious." The next few days I tried to forget it. I focused on work. Sweeping floors. Fixing broken chairs. Carrying supplies. "Daniel," Sister Elena called one afternoon, "can you help me with these boxes?" "Yeah, of course," I said, lifting one. "What's in them?" "Old records," she answered quickly. "Nothing important." "Then why keep them?" She hesitated. "Because we're told to." I glanced at her. "You always do what you're told?" She gave a faint smile. "Here you don't have a choice." That answer stayed with me. At night, things felt different. I started hearing whispers through the walls. One evening, I stopped near the corridor. "Did you hear that?" I asked Elena. "Hear what?" "Voices." She stiffened. "You're imagining things." "I don't think so." She grabbed my arm suddenly. "Listen to me," she said quietly. "If you value your life, don't ask questions." Her grip tightened. Just do your work and keep your head down. I pulled my arm back. Why are you saying that? What's going on here? Nothing, she said quickly. Nothing you need to worry about. That doesn't sound like nothing. It is, she insisted. Please just trust me. I do trust you, I said, but you're scaring me. Good, she whispered. You should be scared. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat up and muttered, what kind of place is this? The next morning I met Father Dominic for the first time. He walked into the courtyard and everyone went quiet. That's him, Elena whispered. Who? Father Dominic. I stepped forward. Good morning, Father. He looked at me. You're new. Yes. What's your role here? I help with repairs and chores. He nodded slowly. Work hard. This place depends on discipline. I understand, I said, but something felt off. His hands trembled slightly. Are you all right? I asked. He forced a smile. Of course. Why wouldn't I be? I shrugged. You just seem nervous. His eyes flicked toward the nuns. Focus on your duties, he said quickly, then walked away. I watched him leave. That was strange. Elena, I said, why did he act like that? She shook her head. Don't read into it. But, Daniel, she cut in, drop it. I didn't respond. Instead, I started paying attention. I noticed lights turning on late at night. I heard footsteps in the restricted halls. I saw Sister Ruth speaking in hushed tones with others. This isn't normal, I whispered to myself, so I began writing things down. Names, times, small details. What are you doing? Elena asked one day. Just keeping track of things, I said. Why? Because something doesn't add up. She looked worried. You need to stop. I can't. You don't understand the risk. Then help me understand, I said. I can't, she replied. And you shouldn't try. I closed my notebook. Too late. That night, I stared toward the west wing from a distance. Just a hallway, I whispered again. But this time I didn't believe it. Something inside me kept saying, this place isn't what it claims to be. And for the first time I started to think I might be in danger. I stood in the hallway staring at the west wing door. It's just a door, I whispered. My hand hesitated. Ruth said stay away. I took a breath. I need answers. I pushed it open. It creaked softly. Not locked. I muttered. That's strange. I stepped inside. The air felt colder. Why does this place feel different? Rows of shelves filled the room. Boxes. Files. Papers stacked everywhere. What is all this? I said under my breath. I picked up a folder. Records. I flipped it open. Names, dates. My chest tightened. These aren't church records. I grabbed another file. Transactions. Numbers filled the pages. Money transfers? Large ones. I swallowed hard. Where is this money going? I turned another page. Fake identities? My hands started shaking. No, this can't be real. I stepped back. This isn't a convent. I looked around again. It's a cover. My voice dropped. They've been lying. I opened a drawer. Letters? I read one quickly. Agreements, signatures. I clenched my jaw. Illegal deals. I whispered, how long has this been going on? My heart pounded louder. And I've been helping them. I dropped the paper. No. I didn't know. Footsteps echoed behind me. I froze. You shouldn't be here. I turned slowly. Sister Maria. She stood at the door, calm, unreadable. I can explain, I said quickly. Can you? She asked. I didn't know what this place was. You weren't meant to know, she replied. I shook my head. This isn't right. Right? She repeated softly. You think the world is that simple? This is wrong, I said again. All of it. She stepped closer. You were given a place to stay. I was used, I shot back. You were protected, she corrected. By lies. By necessity. I stared at her. So everything here is fake? Not everything, she said. But enough. I held up a file. What about this? She glanced at it. Something you shouldn't have touched. People trust this place, I said. They believe in it. And belief keeps things running, she replied. That's not an answer. It's the only one you'll get. I felt anger rise in my chest. Why bring me here? Because you needed a place, she said. And you needed someone to do your work. She didn't deny it. That's why, I whispered. I was just convenient. You were useful, she said calmly. That's not the same thing. It is here. I took a step back. You could have told me. And risk what? She asked. You running away? Talking? I wouldn't have. You already did, she interrupted, nodding at the files in my hands. I fell silent. She looked at me for a long moment. You were supposed to stay quiet. Her voice wasn't angry. That made it worse. I trusted this place, I said. And that was your mistake. Her words hit hard. So that's it? You just expect me to forget this? I expect you to survive, she replied. By pretending none of this exists? Yes. I can't do that. She studied me. Think carefully before you answer. I already have, I said. This place, it's built on lies. And yet it stands, she said. For now. She sighed softly. You don't understand the consequences. Then explain them. I won't. Why not? Because the less you know, the safer you are. I shook my head. I'm already in this. Only if you choose to be. I looked at the files again. There's no choice anymore. She stepped aside. Then leave the room. That's it. I asked. For now. I hesitated. You're just going to let me walk away? I'm giving you a chance, she said. To do what? To stay quiet. I placed the file back slowly. And if I don't? She didn't answer. That silence said everything. I walked past her, my mind racing. You were supposed to stay quiet, she repeated behind me. Her words echoed in my head. As I stepped back into the hallway, I whispered, I'm not just working here. My chest felt tight. I'm part of this now. And for the first time, I understood the truth. I was never meant to leave. I need to show you something, I told Elena, my voice low. She looked around. Not here. Come with me. We stepped into a quiet corner. What is it? She asked. I pulled out the papers. I went to the West Wing. Her face went pale. You what? I found files. Money transfers. Fake identities. This place isn't what it seems. She stared at the papers, then at me. Why would you do that? Because something is wrong, I said. You know it too. She didn't answer. We can expose this, I continued. We can tell someone. Elena stayed silent for a long moment. Say something, I urged. She finally whispered, You don't understand. Then help me understand. You shouldn't have gone there, she said. That's not the point. It is the point, she insisted. You crossed a line. A line built on lies, I snapped. Lower your voice, she warned. I'm not afraid, I said. You should be. I stepped closer. Are you with me or not? She looked away. I can't be part of this. So you're just going to ignore it? I'm going to survive, she replied. That's not enough. It has to be. I shook my head. I thought you were different. I am, she said quietly. That's why I'm telling you to stop. I won't. She closed her eyes. Then I can't help you. Her words felt like a door slamming shut. Fine, I said. I'll do it myself. Daniel, please? No, I cut her off. I trusted you. And I'm trying to protect you. It doesn't feel like it. She didn't respond. I walked away, anger burning inside me. The next morning, everything changed. Daniel, Sister Ruth called sharply. Come here. What's wrong? I asked. You'll answer that, she said. Now. I followed her into the main hall. Everyone was there. What is this? I asked. Sister Maria stepped forward. We have a serious issue. What kind of issue? She held up a paper. Missing records. My stomach dropped. What? You were seen near restricted areas, Ruth added. That doesn't mean anything. It means everything, she snapped. I didn't take anything, I said. Father Dominic entered. What's going on? Maria turned to him. We believe he's been stealing. My chest tightened. That's not true. Dominic looked at me coldly. You've been here only a short time. That doesn't make me a thief. You broke rules, Ruth said. I didn't steal anything. Maria's voice stayed calm. Then explain your behavior. I was working, I replied. In restricted halls? She asked. I hesitated. I was just. Just what? Ruth pressed. I clenched my fist. I saw things. The room went quiet. What things? Dominic asked. I looked at Elena. She avoided my eyes. Elena, I said, tell them. She stayed silent. Elena, I repeated, my voice shaking. You know I didn't steal anything. she whispered. I don't know what you're talking about. Those words hit harder than anything. You're lying, I said. Careful, Ruth warned. No, I snapped. She knows the truth. Elena shook her head. I don't. I felt something break inside me. Why are you doing this? I'm not doing anything, she said softly. Yes, you are, I replied. You're letting them blame me. Dominic stepped forward. Enough. I turned to him. You know this isn't right. He looked at me with disappointment. You disappointed us. Me? I said, my voice rising. I didn't do anything wrong. You broke trust, he replied. There was no trust, I shot back. Maria sighed. This is getting out of hand. What's getting out of hand is your lies, I said. Ruth moved closer. Watch your words. Or what? I challenged. Or you'll regret it. I laughed bitterly. I already do. I looked at Elena one last time. I trusted you. She kept her eyes down. That silence was my answer. I swallowed hard. Fine. Dominic spoke again. You will leave this place. So that's it? I asked. You accuse me and throw me out? It's for the best, Maria said. For who? I replied. No one answered. I nodded slowly. I understand now. What do you understand? Ruth asked. I was never part of this place, I said. I was just someone you could blame. That's not true, Maria said. It is, I replied. I turned toward the door. Daniel, Elena whispered behind me. I stopped but didn't turn around. I'm sorry, she said. I closed my eyes. Too late. Then I walked out, knowing I was completely alone again. Leave and we forget this ever happened, Sister Maria said, her voice calm like nothing had changed. I stared at her. Forget what exactly? You know what, she replied. Take your things and go quietly. And if I don't? She held my gaze. Then things become difficult. I let out a dry laugh. They're already difficult. This is your chance to walk away, she said. No trouble. No accusations. So you admit it? I asked. You're trying to erase me. I'm trying to protect this place. At my expense. At everyone's expense if needed. I shook my head. That's not protection. That's control. Call it what you want, she said. Just leave. I looked around the room. 5 minutes, I said. Let me get my things. She nodded. 5 minutes. I walked out slowly, my mind racing. Just leave, I muttered. That's what they want. I stepped into my small room and shut the door. I could walk away, I whispered. I sat on the bed. No more problems. No more danger. My hands clenched. And no truth. I stood up. I've lost too much already. Memories hit me hard. I won't lose this too. I opened my bag. Think, Daniel. My eyes landed on my notebook. Names, times, patterns. I flipped through it. This is something. Then I paused. But it's not enough. I looked toward the hallway. The west wing. My heart started pounding. One more time. I slipped out quietly. The halls were empty. Good, I whispered. I reached the door. Still unlocked. I stepped inside. Quick. I grabbed files, stuffing papers into my bag. Transactions, agreements. My breath grew faster. This is it. I copied what I could. Names, dates, footsteps. I froze. Silence. Just my imagination, I muttered. I moved faster. No mistakes. After a few minutes, I zipped my bag. Done. I slipped back to my room. Calm down. I packed quickly. Clothes, notebook, everything. A knock came at the door. Time's up, Ruth said. I'm coming, I replied. I took one last look around. I won't come back. I stepped outside. Maria stood waiting. Are you ready? She asked. Yes. Then go, she said. That's it. I asked. That's it. I nodded. Fine. I walked past her without looking back. Outside the air felt different. Free, I whispered. But my chest felt heavy. Not really. I kept walking until the convent disappeared behind me. What now? I asked myself. I pulled out my phone. I need someone. I searched for a name I had heard before. Daniel, journalist. I made the call. Hello, a voice answered. Are you Daniel? I asked. Who's asking? I have information, I said. About something big. He paused. Everyone says that. This is different. How? It involves money, fake identities, and a religious institution. Silence. Where are you? He asked. Close enough, I replied. Can we meet? He hesitated. If this is real. It is. Then it could shake everything, he said. That's the point, I answered. All right, he said. 1 hour. Cafe near the main road. I'll be there. The call ended. I looked at my bag. This is it. For the first time I didn't feel afraid. I felt something else. Control. I'm not running anymore, I said. And this time I meant it. Turn it up, I said, pointing at the small TV in the cafe. The waiter glanced at me. You sure? Yeah. Please. The screen flickered and the news anchor spoke fast. Breaking story. Financial misconduct linked to a religious institution. I leaned forward. That's it. My phone buzzed. Daniel's name flashed. I'm watching, I said as soon as I answered. So am I, he replied. Your files checked out. I told you they would. You realize what this means? He asked. It means they can't hide anymore. It means they'll fight back, he warned. I'm not afraid. You should be a little, he said. People don't like losing power. I already lost everything once, I replied. I'm not losing again. He exhaled. Investigations have started. I can see that. They're shutting the place down. I nodded. Good. Authorities are looking for Father Dominic, he added. He won't show up, I said. He'll run. Probably, Daniel agreed. What about the others? I asked. Sister Ruth was taken in this morning. I closed my eyes. I expected that. And Maria, he continued. What about her? She's denying everything. I let out a bitter laugh. Of course she is. She's calling it false accusations. Does anyone believe her? Not with the evidence we have. I looked at my hands. So it's over. Not yet, Daniel said. These things take time. But it started, I replied. That's enough for now. He paused. How do you feel? I hesitated. I thought I'd feel better. And? I don't know, I admitted. Part of me feels satisfied. And the other part? Empty, I said quietly. That's normal, he replied. You went through a lot. I trusted them, I said. Even when things felt wrong. You did what you had to do. I waited too long, I murmured. But you didn't stay silent forever. I nodded slowly. That counts for something. It does, he said. My phone buzzed again. Another call. Elena, I whispered. You going to answer? Daniel asked. I stared at the screen. No. Why not? Because I already heard what she had to say. People make mistakes, he said. Some mistakes don't deserve forgiveness. Or maybe they deserve closure, he suggested. I shook my head. I don't need closure from her. Are you sure? Yes. The phone kept ringing then stopped. It's done, I said. For now, Daniel replied. I looked back at the TV. Everything is falling apart for them. And you? He asked. I'm still standing, I answered. That's what matters. I took a deep breath. Yeah. The screen showed images of the convent gates closing. It's really over, I whispered. Not over, Daniel said. Just the beginning of the truth. I nodded. And this time I'm not part of their lie. I thought exposing the truth would fix me, I told Daniel. It didn't, he said. But it changed me, I replied. I'm not the same man who walked into that convent. He asked, do you regret it? I said, no. I regret staying silent for so long. He nodded. That silence cost you. Yeah, I said. But not anymore. I have a voice now. And a choice, he added. I looked at him. Sometimes I still think about that place. The convent, he asked. Yeah. The lies. The people. Everything, I said. He asked, do they still affect you? A little, I admitted. But not like before. What changed? I did, I said. I'm not weak anymore. He said, you don't sound like the same person I met. Because I'm not. I survived, I said. And I learned something. What? He asked. That silence destroys you. He nodded. I continued, they tried to take everything from me. But they didn't, he said. No, I replied. They didn't. And they never will again. He asked softly, what are you now? I paused. Someone who speaks. Someone who fights back. I added, and someone they can't erase. He said, That sounds like closure. I shook my head. No. It's strength. And I finally have it. I said, I'm not going back. He said, you don't need to. I know, I said. For the first time. Are you okay? He asked. I will be, I replied. Not today. But I will. He nodded. That's enough, I said. I stood up. This is my life now, I said softly. No more silence. He replied, good. I felt peace for the first time finally.